Yee! I put my heat on today. Yeah.
That's
Live.
your intro?
From Ari Loves Candy Palooza. That's the report I'm getting. Ari really loves candy. It's yet another Manic Monday edition of Business Pants. Joined by the Lord of BS, Matt Moscardi.
C'est moi. Yeah. Are you going to say something about Port Fringe up top?
Let me finish and you can talk. Yeah.
All right,
go
good.
ahead. In today's greasy bro hug called June 5th, 2023, sexy story updates and the return of sleazy academic papers. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
You got a report from the field, Matt?
I do have a report from the field. It's hard to call any of this sleazy.
Well, okay, but I just assume everything going on in academia is sleazy. Every time I read a book written, fiction, literature about academia, it's always affairs and things going. It's always sleazy.
I'm sure that did not pop up
That's
in
the
that
humanities
in the paper.
department. maybe.
That did not pop up in this paper. But before we get rolling, Jesse, the Money Whisperer, Ari, the Data Queen, and I
Lord of
got
BS.
in a
Lord of the Board
car.
Sabermetrics. Yeah. Got an electric car.
An electric car,
Yeah.
and we drove from Central Connecticut
Yeah, the home office.
to Portland, Maine,
Our subsidiary office.
to watch the Business Pants Corporate Theater perform
Yeah, it's a real thing.
the Boring Company play. Which,
Ugh.
if you haven't seen it, it's 30 minutes. We live streamed it. It's 30 minutes. It's up on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Just look for Free Float Media, not Free Float LLC, because we have so many subsidiaries. We're like a international conglomerate.
Yeah, why not? We're like Warner Brothers Discovery.
But I have to say, it was hysterical if you can survive the excruciating pace of it.
Yeah. It's a let me just say that it's a challenging piece. We picked something that was specifically meant to antagonize the audience.
I mean, but if you didn't know the backstory of it, right? Like, which is the Boring Company, Elon Musk's Boring Company. It's one of his 30,000 companies that he's founded, and he's currently the CEO of. The Boring Company has what it does is digs holes in the ground to make for traffic, right? Like, it's
but not even like super. It's not like the Big Dig where they submerged a highway beneath, like a 8-lane highway. They basically submerged a lane of traffic.
Right. So what they've managed to accomplish, and this is brought up in the piece, is they've dug 8 holes, and only one of them is operational. There's one working hole where traffic goes in. It's a 1-lane road with no ventilation,
for about
no
a mile,
fire
it's about
suppression.
A mile.
And when they opened it, there were traffic jams in the hole. Like, nobody could. So this was meant to solve the human crisis of traffic
In Las Vegas, taking you from the Strip to the convention center, right?
And this company was created nearly 10 years ago. So in the last 10-ish years, they've managed to dig one hole successfully in one city that doesn't work. So the whole act is a meeting, effectively an executive meeting, and it's got to be the most boring company ever.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think?
Because they accomplished nothing.
Well,
what do they do?
This is the struggle we have here, not only at Business Pants, but at the Business Pants Corporate Theater, is that all of our stupid stories are always based in fact. They're always heavily researched. Everything is real. I know people think it's all a bunch of nonsense, but every character in that play, they're all the real executives.
They're the real people.
We haven't made up a Boring Company. We're not doing anything like. We're just actually reporting about this horrible company that Elon Musk has, where nothing ever happens.
So the conceit of the play is really like watching them talk about, but it's so disinteresting as to be difficult to as to be pure comedy. It was. Jesse, in the live stream, you can hear Jesse next to me laughing maniacally. Like, I was crying during parts of it. It was so funny.
Wow.
Like,
good review.
It was really, I mean, Look, I am the target audience.
That's
I'm
true.
a very
You're the
specific
dumb,
target audience.
You're the dumb guy we're looking to amuse, basically.
I'm literally the one guy that this is targeted to.
Yeah, probably
so
true.
I obviously thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But it was great. So go watch that. And if you're in the Portland,
Two
Maine
more
area,
shows. Yeah, two more
there's
shows.
a couple more shows coming this week, right? So it's Wednesday and Thursday, I think, right?
Yeah, but whatever.
Or Tuesday and Wednesday. Well,
Who cares? Go
look
to
at the Port
portfringe.com.
Fringe.
Yeah. Support the
go
whole
look
festival.
At Port Fringe.
Yeah.
And if you don't catch the show, we're going to be doing more of them.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
this show
absolutely.
every
Absolutely.
time, but this is such a great I don't know why someone hasn't done 100 of these before. This is fantastic.
That's a good
All right,
review.
let's do
Wow.
the news
Come on, let's
before we
get to
talk
it.
more
Come on,
about it.
start.
All right.
Matt, let me begin with a vow and an apology, all from the same story.
Wow.
We don't have a lot of apologies anymore. Something happened. I think there were so many apologies, and everyone made fun of the apologies that people just stopped apologizing. But today, CNN CEO Chris Licht, I don't know,
Licked.
apologizes to staff during internal Monday morning call. He's apologizing for drawing attention away from the network's mission and vowed to earn back trust. I love it. An apology and a vow.
Yeah, that's nice.
This is based on a 15...
What is their mission?
Yeah. That's
Low
a good,
ratings and
that's
no
a good
news?
question. This is based on a 15,000 word profile out of The Atlantic about Chris Licht. This guy is got such a wonderful, beautiful ego that he invited The Atlantic to basically follow him around, including going to the gym with him with his crazy personal trainer. A 15,000 word profile about a CEO no one has ever heard of. I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
I read some of it, and it was not interesting. You could have shaved off 12,000 of the
look at
words,
that.
and I could have gotten the same amount of information.
And just so this is all coming from this horrible Trump town hall where the CEO filled the audience with extra Trumpy people, and he let Trump do this a day after he was found liable for sexually abusing Jean Carroll. So I'm going to repeat the board sabermetrics data that we have. This is why nobody should be surprised about this. I looked at Warner Brothers Discovery. First of all, a 13-member board, only 3 women on the board. That's low for 13 members.
Wow.
A 10% power gap. They control only 13% of the power, and that's because the top 4 bros at Warner Brothers Discovery, they all have 15 years plus tenure. They control 56% of the influence, and basically
Holy moly.
nobody else has a say on that board. And this is across the whole corporate structure. It is white men everywhere. Corporate leadership, only 3 of 15 women. Top 5 NEOs, all white men. It's just everywhere. Every leadership position is just an old crusty bro. So no one should really be surprised by Chris Licht acting like a crusty bro. I don't know. I mean, I'm just telling you from our data, Matt.
I mean, this is in keeping, right? And this is a Zaslav hire, right?
Yes.
Isn't this? Yeah.
In fact, David Zaslav, his buddy, has just been appointed as the new COO at CNN to kind of look over Chris Licht. So Zaslav's putting another buddy in.
You know how we know it works? When your first buddy does a sucky job, you bring in a different buddy to tell that other buddy to stop doing a sucky job.
Well, and the weird thing is that this suckiness goes up to Zaslav, right? So it's like he's doubling down on his own decision making, thinking that.
Does Chris Licht get away with having Trump on air if David Zaslav doesn't say have Trump on air? Like that doesn't happen, does it?
According to a lot of media reports, the CNN CEO Chris Licht had an audience of 1, and that is the Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav. So that's what his real audience is. And again, the reason why I bring all this up is that you can see from our data that when the influence is really in the hands of a couple of buddies, this is kind of what happens. The company is you're appealing to the egos of a couple of people.
This is the Activision board, is what it is.
Yes. The next story, Activision Blizzard. Matt, you reported about Activision Blizzard on the Friday show, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Really,
Bobby
really
Kotick,
unhappy.
Bobby Kotick said there was no systemic abuse, no systemic discrimination, whatever going on. The culture was fine going on Activision Blizzard. It's all because of the labor movement.
Yeah, well, my favorite quote was, he blames it on the labor movement, but my favorite quote is, basically, he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but if any of those things were true, the board would have gotten rid of me. And then we looked at the board, and the board is like his 3 best friends. He's been on the board with the same people for 20 years. One of them was actually his college roommate, right? Like, so those are the people who are going to hold you accountable.
Well, according to reporting out of Axios this morning, employee reports of misconduct have gone up. They're going up.
Ooh.
114 reports, according to this article. The company has already taken over 36 corrective actions, including terminating workers for discriminatory language, physical assault, misgendering, unwanted advances, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. Physical assault?
Yeah. Non-consensual touching.
Those seem like problems.
Yeah, and the Activision's board, very weird response was, even one instance of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation is one too many. This is their... what is that supposed to... What?
That's like I don't see color.
But 114 reports.
So 114 instances. When does Bobby Kotick get fired then? Because if one instance is one too many, 114 is 114 too many.
Again, another good use case.
I think my math works.
Another good use case for our data.
That's
Just saying.
Yes.
Just saying. And soon we moving on.
Yeah, you can say the platform's coming soon. Yeah.
Yeah. And our team is expanding.
The running joke is we will have a platform.
And our team is expanding. We're going to try to help to sell this data more, right? Is that not?
That's right.
I hear rumors.
We have future announcements on
but we're not going to.
Human beings who are going to help us.
Yeah, the 5th member of the impressive Free Float team. Next story, Twitter. I hate to report on Twitter, but Twitter.
Are you kidding me?
Blah, blah, blah.
Twitter safety executives exit. Twitter safety executives exit as concerns about policing content grow. AJ Brown, Twitter's head of brand safety and ad quality, has decided to leave the company. His departure comes on the heels of the exit last Thursday of Ella Irwin, Twitter's head of trust and safety.
What do we... Why are we reporting on this?
I don't know. I know it's a private company. I guess a good question. Why?
But like policing content is not what Twitter's policing content is. Elon Musk says it should go out or it shouldn't. It's not. There's no other police.
Well, unless
everybody else, what they've done is hire a person to basically take a phone call that says, "Hey, don't censor this content," or "Hey, censor this content." That person writes it down on a sticky note and puts it on Elon Musk's window. And when he looks over and sees the sticky note, he just gives a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's policing content.
Speaking of, well, no, you're not speaking of the glass cliff. But I'm going to say it anyway. Speaking of the glass,
there was a glass window involved.
The glassiest, cliffiest CEO hire ever. Originally reported that CEO Linda Yaccarino would take over on June 22nd, but Elon Musk has changed his mind. And now she's starting today. All right,
the whole thing is a joke. She's the CEO of nothing. Come on,
it's a joke. Moving on. Speaking of Twitter, we have a lot of good segues today. Jack Dorsey in the news because he is backing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be the next president of the United States. And I'm going to remind people, unfortunately, this is like goes into our Howard Schultz category. I'm going to unfortunately remind people that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said at a rally in 2022, he suggested that having to get a vaccine during the pandemic was worse than having to hide from the Holocaust. He said, this is Jack Dorsey's pick. He said, quote, "Even in Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland. You could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did."
Oh, yeah, I love a good. Anne Frank had it better. I love a good analogy that says
I don't know what I ever the joke around here is that I love Jack Dorsey. I'm not really sure what I thought about Jack Dorsey, but this is
now
something.
You definitely do not like Jack Dorsey.
I don't get this one at all. And the only reason why I pointed out this story is because, once again, this is why you should be using our data. There is an extreme amount of corporate influence in the hands of idiots, just dopey, dropout, white male, IT, incel, antisocial weirdos.
I mean, Jack Dorsey said that Elon Musk was our singular savior. Wasn't he like the existential light of being or something? And then said he wasn't. So RFK Jr. is basically the Elon Musk of the Democratic Party.
At a minimum, can we finally get rid of dual class shares? Are we ready, America?
Oh, what a cute idea that is.
Can we break down this horrendous means of corporate control? It is nonsense.
Dorsey doesn't have them. So, just saying. Neither does Musk.
Hollywood directors reach deal with studios as writers' strike continues. So I don't know if you knew this, but Hollywood is dealing with potentially 3 strikes at once: the writers, the actors, and the directors. But they think they have a deal with the directors. So there you go.
Okay.
You don't care.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't watch television really.
Yeah.
None of
you
this
watch
is,
movies. You like movies.
I like the occasional movie, but I don't care that much about it. Like, I'm more than happy to just go to Business Pants corporate theater shows instead of any of this. So,
Apple is expected.
Are they on strike, or are workers on strike?
They should be. Apple is expected to unveil sleek headset aimed at thrusting the masses into alternate realities.
Okay, wait a minute. Whoa. The headline should never say thrust. I don't want thrusting.
First major new product in nearly a decade. Been working on the headset for 7 years. Expected to cost $3,000. But here's my fear, Matt, is that Apple seems to get things right. Is this... Are we on the precipice? Is this when we start to lose everyone into the meta diaper world?
All, and I do mean all of the conversation about this headset is it is destined to be the biggest corporate flop in the last decade.
Oh, okay.
That is what I'm hearing.
Okay. See, I'm expecting the opposite, where they eventually figure this out and we officially lose people forever.
No, they are. First of all, it costs 3 times as much as the most expensive version of a rival, and 6 times as much as the normal retail version.
But if it's good, I mean, iPhones still retail in the like $1,000. So
of course, sure. Yeah. But you also have to put basically what is a prophylactic on your face.
Okay,
like,
but
nobody wants to have that.
I do agree with you, Matt, but what I'm worried about is that if they get the technology right and the further the further iterations of the product are even better, the retail price starts to come down, are we fully in dystopia where people are just glued into their meta realities?
Yes, but it all depends on whether or not, when this is released, people can have legs in the Apple metaverse.
All right.
That's what it's all about.
And finally...
that's a nice...
It's a hearty laugh for a Monday morning. And finally, in our alternative democracy follow-up, because the stupid SEC's website was down on Friday and I was trying to do reporting. It's jerks. Dollar General, remember they had a worker safety and well-being audit in report? They had that shareholder proposal. Matt, 68% of shareholders said yes. 68%.
Wow, 68%.
It's almost like they're listening to us. They're listening to Business Pants.
It's almost like Strive's vote doesn't matter.
Yeah, almost as if. And Netflix, remember, Say on Pay rejected. Still nothing. Netflix, the meeting was June 1st. Where's the 8K Netflix? Why are you hiding this? You know how many stupid shows you put out every day? Why are you hiding this? What are you ashamed of?
I'm waiting for Alphabet, too, because Alphabet had about 300 proposals. One of which was the National Center for Public Policy Research, which is the anti-woke group.
Yeah, I like that.
And Strive voted against it.
Wait, what? What do they call that? Right on right crime?
Yeah, it's anti-woke on anti-woke crime. Yeah. I think it's when you do the antis cancel each other out?
Yeah, it's all good questions.
It's Let's do. It's time for a nerd alert.
Nerd alert. We haven't had one in a long time.
Yeah, Jesse's going to be happy because she's been looking for something to put in our newsletter that goes out every week. So here's a nerd alert. We'll keep it relatively quick and painless. The paper, the title of the paper is Director Departure Following Political Ideology Incongruence with an incoming CEO.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's by Busenbark, Bundy, and Chin. It's from 2022.
Bundy likes this topic. Mm-hmm.
So here's the simple conceit of the paper.
Okay.
Are directors more likely to leave if the CEO is of a different political persuasion? That's it.
Okay.
So there's a director, they're sitting on the board, there's a new CEO coming in, and if that new CEO is a raging liberal and the director is a conservative, is the director likely to leave?
I would say to you that this seems like a highly topical, highly pertinent subject, but I will caution that by saying that the coverage area for this study is not like in the Trump era, though, right? It's not the current era of politics. It's kind of
it is not the current era when it's even more divisive.
Yeah, now it's highly divisive. But
it's probably way worse than this now. This sample was for S&P 500 companies where there was CEO succession between 2008 and 2012.
So that's the first Obama administration.
Squarely in the Obama administration, the beginning of divisiveness, but not where we are now.
Yep.
The data is from ExecuComp, ISS, BoardX, MSCI, and the SEC data.
Yeah, so we'd expect this to get worse, right? Okay, got it.
We'd expect this to, whatever I'm going to say.
Yeah, multiply by 7.2. Yeah.
1,456 directors covered at 203 firms.
Okay.
And they use political donation data to determine your political ideology. They use 4 factors. The percent you donated to Democrats, the percent you donated to Democrats like by number and amount. So that's 2. The number of years you've donated and the number of different recipients. So they created a score between 0 and 1 where a 1 is super liberal and a 0 is super conservative and a 0.5 is neutral. And they're only looking at directors who left before the annual general meeting. They leave basically on their own. The CEO comes in and they basically leave very soon thereafter, having nothing to do with the general meeting.
Got it.
Here's the main takeaway. Are you ready for it?
Absolutely.
You know what we haven't had in a while? A drum roll.
Oh.
Here's the main takeaway.
I'm actually excited for this takeaway. Yeah.
Directors who aren't already familiar with the incoming CEO, they aren't already friends.
Yeah.
When they have a big ideological difference, they are much more likely to leave as a result.
Okay.
That is correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that good? I don't know.
How do they quantify whether they're buddies or not? Because they didn't have board sabermetrics data, unfortunately.
They didn't, in fact, and if they did, they would actually know it way better. But what they use is overlapping tenure in the places. They had a very small sample. So our data, board sabermetrics data,
for the next paper
is 10,000 companies over 5 years. So we have a lot more data.
I would love to see an update on this paper.
Small.
Maybe they can update.
I'll send it to them.
Yeah.
I know Chin. Who's one of I don't know.
And Bundy needs work, so yeah.
But in fact, what they found was when a director's politics disagrees with the CEO, they're actually more likely to want to leave than they want to stay when the CEO's politics agrees with them. As in, they have a stronger, the reaction
makes sense.
I want to run away more than I want to fight for my job when it's good, right? Like they're more willing to leave when they hate the CEO's politics.
It's funny, and it's all over our data, but the reality is that it's not hard for directors to just find new directorships, right?
Yeah, once you're there. It's pretty easy.
But to me, that's part of the problem, right? I mean, is that just all you have to do is become a director, and then you can become a director everywhere else. They don't actually have any way of articulating your performance at these boards other than through our data, Board Sabermetrics, where the first company to ever to even begin to articulate performance.
That's correct.
All they ask you is, have you been a director at like John Deere, and that's it.
Did you go to Harvard, Stanford, or Yale?
Yeah.
And were you a director before?
no matter
those are
like
the primary.
no matter like
qualifications.
what was the effect of earnings during your tenure. At
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
Like
How
like
did you
important actual
actually
questions.
do?
Yeah, yeah. But we
Well,
have
here are the
that. We have that.
implications.
Board sabermetric.
We do have that. Here are the implications of this
Yeah.
study. I found that in a survey of 769 directors in 2015, they found that 50% were Republicans and 24% were Democrats, and 26% labeled themselves "quote unquote" independent.
Which means
Yeah,
that
right.
they don't know what they were, but they were probably Republicans.
They're basically Republicans, right? Like everyone who's independent is a libertarian. That's basically what they are. Last month, even the Christian Monitor claimed that as many as 70% of CEOs and boards were Republican in the United States. They're all conservative. So here's what my takeaway was, and I'll leave this with you as I play
let it linger.
I'll play the music out. Ready? Is there actually no glass cliff or brown cliff for people of color? Is it really just a political cliff? Because women and people of color are disproportionately
Democrats, yeah.
and they're all entering fully Republican boards.
Could be. Hey, I have another way to do this study next time too. Why don't we analyze just by what the kind of cars they're driving? Can we do it that way? That might be fun.
I still subscribe to your idea that we should analyze them based on comedy shows that they have to give. 10
Look,
minutes
sure.
earlier.
Let's try it.
Let's do it. All right, that's our show. That's a
And you're
Monday.
off. You're off on a
Monday.
conference.
I am
Where are you
off on a
going?
conference for the rest of this week. I'm going to Los Angeles to the Social Innovation Summit.
Yeah, so if you're there, say hello to Matt Mascardi.
If you're there, come see me. You're not probably there.
No.
But you should buy stuff from us anyway. That's Damian Rollis. I'm Matt Mascardi. We'll be back tomorrow, I think, with some corporate theater, but they might have tomorrow off. Right?
We'll see.
They're tired.
We'll have a few things cooked up.
Might have a few things, might have nothing. I don't know. Until I'm back on Friday, until whenever Damian does this show again. Goodbye.